Hey everyone, happy Friday. It's the Paddle Panel podcast. Still can't get that one right. How's
Repeat.
everyone doing? We got Lucia here with Jada Fan.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Lots of news dropped. I think, well, lots of significant news for the next generation, as they usually call them. And so we've got that. We've got some cyberpunk thoughts, and let's put it on the board. So on the board we've got here right now is a CNET article where it compares the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, and I think they talk a lot about the qualitative things like launch games and commentary. And here is the raw table of confirmed specs. I think a lot of people from rumors and other podcasts and articles have pretty much confirmed everything. You've got PlayStation 5 running the Zen 2 AMD. It's going to run about 10 teraflops. It's what else? Storage is about 1 terabyte SSD. We can get into that one in a bit. The target is about 8K. The target is 4K, but maximum resolution can go to 8K 60 frames or 4K 120 depending on the game. PlayStation 5 has this, it's marketing its hard drive and its ability to load things at an insane fast speed, has VR. What else do they have? Backward, quote unquote, backward
Who
compatibility.
the hell
Yeah.
plays VR anymore? But anyway, continue.
You
you
know,
know, you know, Facebook. They basically nixed the whole Oculus team. Like it's sad. I almost got a job there. But yeah, I just think it's funny. I feel
I
bad
thought
for the people impacted, but they just nixed that whole group.
I
Like
thought, I thought they're coming back with that, no? Or
I
they,
read an article, I gotta go find it now, where they basically just nixed that whole platform of
mm,
Oculus. But anyway, continue. Sorry. Just made me think of virtual reality. I'm like, who the hell
remember
plays that anymore?
Virtual Boy?
Oh my God. I know we're going on a tangent, but who the hell like we're in the 2000s and this is not Johnny Mnemonic virtual world.
Hey,
Um
Johnny
but
Mnemonic, you know who started that?
I know exactly. But I'm
You
just
want to go
saying
on a
this
Keanu
isn't this isn't that world that we thought back when we were watching that movie in the 90s. So I don't know what we're doing with virtual anymore. But okay, continue,
rant?
PlayStation.
Okay. Anyway, PlayStation is claiming that PS4 games are 99% going to be backward compatible. However, 1, 2, and 3 will not. It's going to release on November 12th. It is pre-orders have started. It's just that I think right now they're sold out, and there was a lot of controversy about the whole pre-order thing. With the disk drive 500, without the disk drive 400, and then we've talked about Series X. We've got Zen 2 terabyte. They have their own solution for fast loading speed with SSD, Blu-ray, 8K, 4K, ray tracing. What else we got here that we haven't talked about? Game Pass. We love that.
Virtual? No, I don't
Well, it's
know. I'm just
unconfirmed.
kidding.
According to this, it's unconfirmed.
Oh my God.
But
Yes, Game Pass. That's like the best thing ever. But yeah, can you
yeah,
buy the PlayStation on a monthly payment plan? I can't remember if they said that.
which say that again?
Can you buy the PlayStation 5 on a monthly payment plan?
No, no.
Interesting.
Yeah. So they're going traditional. And then
Yeah.
September 22nd, which is Tuesday, you can pre order. November 10th is the release date. For the Series X, it's 500. For the lesser powers, Series S, it's 300. I think, we've already talked about this. And I guess the question is we now know the price, which is 500, 400 for PlayStation 5. What do you think about this? Because you've got PlayStation 5 at 500 or a digital only at 400, Series X at 500, Series S at 300. We talked about Xbox S last podcast. Let's talk about the perspective of the PS5 now. What do you think?
So I'm not sold on this virtual thing. You had me there. But can you talk to me about the Zen thing? Like, give me a sense of I am not like the whiz that I used to be with this kind of jargon. So you're gonna have to remind me. And by the way, just to comment on the comment that you made that they are sold out from the pre-order perspective, there was an article where Sony said that they were not going to be able to fulfill a lot of the orders ahead of time because of the chips, and that's related to COVID. So the production of the chips were impacted by COVID. So I don't know if that was done on purpose that they made that statement, or to scare people into pre-ordering like now, or whether that was just like just so happened this situation. But we both know that, knowing that they were building this thing and releasing it this year, it came as a surprise to me that they wouldn't have secured enough chips before COVID. But I digress. Anyway, can you give me a rundown, because like for the people that aren't as familiar with all these specs, are they pretty much the same as what the Xbox is offering or better? Because I see 8K, 4K, that stuff I understand, but these chips, like the hardware, I guess, if you will, is
Um,
there any difference really?
eh, I'm not an expert, but I'll try my best here. And so the Zen 2 is the AMD, I guess, the chip, and it's a class of it's a class of processor. I'm not going to pretend I know
No,
anything.
no, but is it supposed to be fast, like, or faster than what the chip is in the Series X?
No, they're the same. The only
Okay, so
difference
it's the
is
same.
that, well, let me rephrase it. They're the same in the sense that there's the same architecture, but I think the Series X, I think that what they've done is it's a variable, if I recall, it's variable processing. Oh God, I'm gonna butcher this.
So it's
Power,
like a car, basically, either naturally aspirated or turbo, basically. Like,
maybe, yeah,
is that
maybe. Like let's
so?
say,
If
yeah.
you put it that way, so like, I guess on the surface of it, I'm gonna make the assumption that they both deliver the same sort of gameplay. Like I said, we're not experts, but I feel like on the face of it, as someone who just buys the consoles and just goes from there. But I guess, in your opinion, which one do you think would deliver the more PC experience?
Uh, if we're at the risk of fanboys attacking us, I probably would say power wise, it'd have to be Series X.
That's what I was thinking. That's why I wanted to ask you that question, because
I'm,
that's what I was thinking underneath it all, but I didn't want to be biased. So
you
I
wanted
just
me to
wanted,
take the hits, so it's okay.
like, no, I just want to play Cyberpunk. I want to get to that part of the podcast. No, I'm just kidding. Um, no, I'm just I'm interested. I will say this: when the announcement came out about the price, I was actually a little shocked. I know you weren't as much. I was shocked because it was less than I had in my mind. We were going and running different conversations about what the price point could be. We thought they might go higher, but with Xbox going lower, now they had to go and be a defender. So, like, it's interesting about that they went with those price points, but you and I talked, when you go above 500, you reach that threshold of like, does this shit make sense? Or should I just buy a PC? Um, so, like I said, I was very shocked. It actually made me consider buying it. Like I said, on the face of it, I'm going to assume that both deliver whatever the specs are on this piece of paper, that both deliver the same experience and gameplay. I will say it's all going to come down to the key differentiators, which is, what do I get above that? So I think you brought it up earlier. We both know what's coming out in terms of games that are quote unquote exclusive to each of these, the launch games, if you will. The one thing I will say, and as a user of the Xbox Game Pass, I am a big fan of it. That's the one thing I will say that differentiates Xbox from PlayStation for me, because I actually really enjoy the Game Pass experience. And with Game Pass Ultimate, and like I said, we're not getting paid to say this. I really do subscribe to it with my own money. Um, I can use it on the PC or the Xbox. And a lot of the titles on there are like older titles, right? So the backward capability is there. Um, So it's interesting that PlayStation also touts that it's backward compatible, although it's not 100% backward compatible. So again, the marketing is going to be key here. On the surface of it, it seems like um, both are viable options. It's just a matter of what is going to get you to pull the trigger, so to speak, and buy. So is it price? Is it game? Is it like what is it that's going to speak to people? And knowing most people, it's going to be the games that come with it. And so that's where my mind is at right now. And I know we'll talk about it later, but it boils down to what people perceive is the thing that they're getting by buying this system.
And I mean, I think the only thing I want to add to your comment, you mentioned it, that I wasn't surprised that it was not $600 the PS5. I was surprised that the optical drive is 500. I thought that they had to have that one at 399.
Yeah,
Uh,
because that's not the solid drive, right? It's just
no, they both have a solid state drive, but the
okay.
funny thing is that it's actually, if you look at this right here, it's not a terabyte. I mean, granted, there's what's that, a 10%
Yeah,
variance,
so
and
yeah,
so this 825 is not a terabyte really,
no,
and then you take away 10%, and then you probably have to take away 10% for the system.
probably 500 at the
Yeah.
end of the day.
How many games is that? Five?
Yeah, I know.
So my point is that I already know, they say you can replace the terabyte, the SSD terabyte, but the problem is that you saw me shopping with it Lumpia for an SSD. These things ain't cheap, and that's
No.
on it's not like a new egg, right? For a PC, these things ain't cheap for a terabyte. So what are you gonna do? Swap every terabyte? I give credit to Microsoft that you can just swap it like a memory card, but at the same time, I hate it because it's a special memory card. Um, I I just think that the optical drive at 500 for a lesser powered device compared to a Series X, which is more powerful at the same price, I think the optical drive is kind of dead. Though the 400, I think, is a competitive price, and most people buy their games on digital, but they're gonna find out you're gonna feel pain. You're not gonna get the full power of the drive loading and all that stuff from the PS5 if you only got 500 gigs after all of
Agreed.
the system and 10% variance or whatever.
Yeah, agree.
And
'Cause I feel it on my PC.
yeah, I mean, I'm just shocked that for 500 you're telling me that it's the same power as the Xbox Series X. Now, if it's a game thing, you know what? I As much as I'd love to say PlayStation 5 has the exclusives, you know what? They announced it. They're going to put their exclusives on PC, whether it's a year after, 2 years after, or 3 months after. I'm sorry, like it's if I'm struggling with the idea that I need to buy a PS5. Yeah, I won't be able to play it for like a year or two, but I'm so backed up in real life that I good luck.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the life of normal people, right? I mean, I wish I had the life I had in high school, college, where I could just knock it out in 3 days, but I don't.
Now, can I ask a stupid question? If I play on the PC, will it transfer over to the PlayStation?
Well, no, the like Xbox at least can do that, but PlayStation 5 right now has been really I wouldn't call it deceptive, but they've been really careful about saying everything that they're going to do because I think that the fan bases get really sensitive of the idea that their games are not exclusive to a platform, that quite frankly PlayStation Sony would love to get the money from the folks at PC because I think Horizon Zero Dawn did well when it went on PC, and it
Yeah.
actually was the better version, which is kind of like I should have just waited because it was a very pretty game, but it was kind of a boring game. But I might as well have played it at 60 frames, you know?
Yeah. No, but it's interesting you say that because you're right. Like it is the marketing, and when I think about it, at $5.99, I could get a decent PC to get me started and buy the peripherals to like, get me to where I need to be. So that's the struggle that I'm feeling when I think about it. It's not that I'm discounting what they're offering. I think the system looks kind of cool with that white, like sort of weird
The modem,
spaceship thing.
the modem.
The modem.
Says,
But like I said, I it for me, like you said, if it comes for me, it's games. Sometimes for me, it's like usability. Like I have not touched my PlayStation in a long time. I don't think I've needed to. And so if I have to wait for like the next Spider-Man game, like to come in the next 5 years, then I'll wait because like you said, I have too many, especially with Game Pass. I have too many. I have too many games.
right. I mean, I'm not discounting PlayStation 5 either. I think if Sony's marketing does itself well and there's Persona 6, I probably may be tempted. But by that time, if Persona 6 comes out, this optical drive version is like hopefully 200. And that's the only time I'd buy it. Oh, you know what? I lie. There is God of War that they announced.
Well, yeah, God of War does look really good. Like I said, I think it all comes down to what's important to the person buying it. Because it's not before. I feel like the PlayStation used to be, and maybe it still is, but before when we were kids, if you had a PlayStation, it was like a sign of like it was the same as having an iPhone, like being the person on the block that you live on that has an iPhone. And so there was this like, I don't know, I feel like it's like anyone who owned a PlayStation, like it was just a symbol of like, oh, like, you're like you, you own a PlayStation. So nowadays I don't think that matters anymore. And I think that it all will come down to what's important to the person. Like I said, most people who are really hardcore gamers are probably going to be playing on their PC. And there are a lot of people that spend a lot of money building a PC. Henry Cavill does it. Everyone does it. Like, so I really think it will come down to that. It's not a status symbol like it was before when we were growing up. It's now coming down to what's important to you. So I think that's going to be the key element of I can't tell people what's best or what's not for them. For me, I would probably lean more towards Xbox or a PC, but that's because it's me. But to someone else, if God of War, if Spider-Man, Miles Morales, if Persona 5 matters to you, you're gonna go get it. And Final Fantasy, you're gonna go get it because you can't wait, and that's fine. So I think for me that's what it all comes down to.
Yeah, and I think where I'm at is that I don't need a day one. I actually don't even. I'm gonna admit with the Series X, a part of me says I don't need it day one, and I don't know. It's with Halo Infinite and the idea that I guess I guess this is Destiny, Warzone, and then all the games I have in my backlog. I'm not really in this rush to buy yet. So I'm one of those. So if there's early adopters, I guess there's the what did they call it in business class? The laggers.
Yeah,
Is it the fast followers? Something like
I think
that.
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would fall under that because I don't. And then also, this is what I hate when you buy it day one. I swear, there's always something wrong with it. Do you know what I mean? Like you buy like the first thing that came out of the production line, you somehow get all these bugs.
No, it's true because I could have sworn that like what was it? Like there was a system that came out that had a lot of bugs in it, and I think it was a PlayStation 2. Um
Oh, the 360,
and
360 had the red ring of death all the
oh,
time.
and the 360 too. So like I said, I agree with you. Sometimes you don't want the first off the line, especially if the chip was manufactured during COVID. So you don't know how good that chip is going to be because people probably didn't want to be close to each other. So, like I said, I agree with you. Like I'm not going to be a game day one kind of person on either of these, but that's because I'm happy with my Xbox and it gets me to where I'm going. And then there's my PC, which I'm still exploring. So, but I think like for me, it will all come down to what, like, if someone were to ask you or me, I feel like it will come down to a question of what are you going to use it for and what games do you like to play? Like that would be it because this is not a cheap thing. This is a pretty big, this is a pretty big spend. And like, in this day and age, you got to think about it. I mean, there's a payment plan for the Xbox, which is like unheard of. Like we talked about, like a telephone plan, like a
Yeah.
cell phone plan. So like it's making it a little bit more accessible, which is nice. So, like I said, and the whole trade-in system, like I said, I think I give them kudos for thinking outside of the box and considering that, this is these are the times where we got to think about people's wallets, and it's not going to be easy to get Johnny or Susie like a $600 system. And if they don't have a TV to support this system, well, what the hell? You got to get that too. So, like I said, it'll all come down to that. I mean, whatever's accessible, whatever. Some people are still. I mean, why do you think these other systems still exist? Like people are still buying the old Xbox. You know,
Mhm.
the only thing that will get me to buy it, which I think we'll segue into, is if they had, like I said, a specific cyberpunk one, a yellow Xbox that was like cyberpunk themed controller.
Well, they have the
And
controller. There is a controller out
no,
there.
but I want the whole thing. Like I want to walk into a Costco and see it there and just, oh, I gotta buy it. Like that's what I want. And I don't know if I'll get that. But yeah, I say that because Cyberpunk team actually had um a contest to build a PC to what you would win an Alienware gear and everything. If you built a PC in the theme of Cyberpunk, and I was like, why did they have that for freaking Xbox? I mean, they could have done so much with that. But anyway, I digress. I
Well,
digress.
we're not going to get there yet because I think we gotta focus on PlayStation. By the way, that all access does tempt me because at $35 a month, I could have the new one, but I probably will have to hold off. I just don't. I have no idea when I'm going to have time to play right now. But yes, let's talk about PlayStation because they had their event where they announced the games and, well, not the games, the price and the release date. And it's fascinating because they had a few games that they announced. I think there was like the Final Fantasy. They showed a new Resident Evil trailer. They showed the Spider-Man Miles Morales and all this other stuff that I, you know, pretty good show.
Yeah, and I
Um,
expected most of the things they showed, which like it wasn't a surprise. You know what
right.
I mean?
Right, and I guess the question is that you mentioned what's the point of getting a PS5, and let's focus on Miles Morales for example, that game where they marketed that you needed to buy a PS5 to play it, and then after the show they drop a blog that says actually Miles Morales you could play that on PS4 because it's going to
Hmm.
be on PS4,
Hmm.
and Horizon Forbidden West will be on PS4. You don't necessarily need to buy a PS5. And it's funny because people are calling it out how game journalists have been talking about how Microsoft is making a mistake by catering to the Xbox One people and just not focusing on just Series X. And they make articles saying it's a good thing that Sony is um, making for PS4 and PS5. But it goes back to the marketing. Did you think, Lumpia, that you needed a PS5 to play Spider Man Miles Morales?
I did. And I told you this a while back that they market so well that it's almost like brainwashing. because I thought Destiny was only available on PlayStation. I didn't know it was on PC,
Do
and I
you?
didn't know it was on
Well,
Xbox.
no, PC was later, but yes, it was on Xbox. And do you know how they did what they paid for the marketing? Sony
No,
they paid at the time Activision to never say that it was on Xbox. Like
unbelievable.
it was, I it's deceptive, but at the same time, bravo.
Yeah, I mean, this is war for them. Because remember, if you go back into history, Microsoft started Xbox to steal share. That's really all it was about. They saw the market for gaming and they said, we want that share. And that's what they did with Xbox. So, like, if you think about it, this is war for Sony. This is their home turf. Um, like I said, in my example, I was led to believe through the marketing campaign that I had to have a PlayStation to play Destiny. Today I don't, and I play it on a different system. I play it on PC and I play it on Xbox. So I will say the way they approach marketing is insane. I've never seen I've never seen it where a company goes to the extent that they do to make you believe that you can't find it anywhere else. Like if I told you you could only buy a box of one type of cereal at your this one store, we'll call it Walmart. Walmart's the only one that sells this certain cereal flavor, and nowhere else in the world will you be able to get it except Walmart. Like it makes you think that, but it's not. And that's the true beauty of marketing, but that's also in a weird way deceptive, but there are no laws against that. Like it's not like pricing. It's not like price collusion or anything. It truly is marketing, and it inherently, you don't read the fine print during the marketing, but you believe that you're only going to get it at one place. So like I said, there are exclusives that are true to PlayStation. God of War has always been a PlayStation game. So just like Mario is with Nintendo, it's synonymous with Nintendo. You cannot play Mario unless it's a Nintendo system. So, but everyone kind of knows that. But for the games that aren't exclusive, but they feel exclusive, that's where it comes to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. Like it's exactly, I mean, granted, Miles Morales Spider-Man, you can play on both 4 and PS5. Like I still felt like I had to get a PS5 for it. So just like Avengers, I actually, if I didn't know any better, I would think Avengers was only a PlayStation game.
Well,
Like
can I
that,
just say, if I didn't know any better, I thought I was going the story was going to focus on, Iron Man, Captain America, or
exactly.
Black Widow, and Hulk. You'd think it'd be focusing on them and how they defeat the enemy.
You think,
You
but
think, but
again,
no,
marketing.
it's the greatest. It's the greatest character in the Marvel comic book universe. Did you just see how she like? Did you get to see the animation of how Kamala Khan just grows and just yeah.
Oh, right. It
Oh,
truly is like a movie trailer, the way PlayStation markets, in that there are times when you watch a movie trailer, the ending actually is shown in the trailer, but you don't realize that it makes you believe something else.
mm,
Or the trailer is so cut in a way that, like, it's not exactly the story that you go end up seeing. Like, there are trailers sometimes that make you think it's a comedy, and it is not a comedy. So, like, you know, it's quite interesting marketing campaign. I would really say that it's reminiscent of a movie trailer. You really don't know until you see the movie whether or not the trailer is really true to it because of the way they cut it, because they reshoot shit and everything. But like I digress. I mean, there are certain games on PlayStation that I really think that I'm only going to be able to experience on the PlayStation when the reality is later on they don't have exclusivity forever. They eventually will find their way to either PC or Microsoft Xbox. So
Well, I think in Marvel, Spider-Man is exclusive to
Well,
PlayStation.
Spider-Man is, yes, but at
I
least
think
you
that's
know it's
exclusive.
available on the PlayStation 4, not just the 5.
Right. Well, I think yeah. I mean, I I'm not going to get into the hypocrisy of folks in the media, or you know the fandom, or I'm not going to get into the deceptiveness of it. I just have to say bravo, because I really thought I needed a PlayStation 5 to play Miles Morales, but I actually am going to counter and say, do I need a PlayStation 5 to play at all, to play Horizon Forbidden West? Because if Zero Dawn is on PC, if the rumor about God of War 1 being on PC happens, what do I need a PlayStation 5 for?
Exactly.
But I will wait and see, because PC Master Race.
But what's interesting is that I don't say that about Xbox. You know that? Like, I don't know if it's just me. It probably is, but I don't say that about Xbox. Like, I'll give an example. Mass Effect. Do you have it on Xbox? Do you have
Yeah,
it on PC?
yeah,
Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you don't say that about Xbox, but you do say that about PlayStation. So it's interesting that it's that dynamic, because it's a very interesting dynamic that I feel like is true to me. Sounds like it's the same with you. Like Cyberpunk, for example, I would probably get it for both. Like, for some strange reason. Like,
yeah. Xbox. So Xbox, I'll say this: when they were getting their butt kicked at the beginning of the generation, they went with the whole, you buy it for Xbox digitally, you get a free copy on PC. They
mm-hmm,
were the first ones to rip the band-aid on the idea that their exclusives
mm-hmm.
will be on PC. And in my mind, it made sense, because I'm like, what platform? Who owns Windows?
Yeah.
Microsoft. So in my mind, it didn't matter. And a lot of people flipped their shit, and that's why they're like, "Oh, I'm never buying an Xbox One, because I'm gonna get a PC. I can make a PC and play it better." And usually, yes, you can play it better, but I'm not gonna lie, you're gonna pay like $1,000 to get it to be 1080p 60.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, I don't know if you saw the new graphics cards from Nvidia, the 30 series. They're like
Oh my God, they sold out.
well,
There
they're
was an
like 3,000
article.
or something.
They literally sold out. It was an article about that. It was insane. The people waiting in line. Um,
Yeah. So
yeah, no, like I said, it's interesting that, because even I have Destiny on the PC and I have Destiny on the Xbox, and I didn't feel guilty about buying it on the PC. I've been playing it hardcore on the Xbox and migrated over to the PC. So like I said, it's weird because I don't find myself having that dynamic. I don't say that about Xbox or PC, because in a weird way, like you said, I see them as the same. And then with PlayStation and PC, I do differentiate the two. And I would say, oh, then I'll get Miles Morales on the PC. Like,
yeah,
why would I get a PlayStation 5?
well, it's not confirmed, but I'm just saying. Look, you to bring Horizon Zero Dawn, I don't care. You literally are letting the flood. You open the floodgates on that. And if God of War 1 goes to PC, that's it. You just assume everything will eventually go to PC, and then everything's all equal, because guess what?
Yeah,
There's only what, 100 million. I mean, there's 100 million PlayStation 4s out there, 120 or something like that. Really great numbers. It's just that, most of those people, I'm going to be honest, they only care about Madden 2K and one
yeah,
other game
yeah,
a
yeah,
year, Call of Duty, and then
yep.
yeah, that too. But eh, or Fortnite or Destiny, if you're that crazy like us. But yeah, I mean, it'll be fun, but this generation, where I guess it's now about performance, less about graphics. It'll be fun. I think Sony, though, you got to give them credit. Their marketing is fantastic. Even if
Yes,
I
legit.
disagree with it, even if I find it shady or slimy,
It's legit.
it's legit. Um,
Hmm.
and like Final Fantasy 16, when I first saw it, I was like, "Damn, I can't play Final Fantasy." And then you have to like go to the blog and then watch the unedited version where there's like a little blurb that says at the end, Sony console exclusivity does it means, like they do this footnote that's been like blurred out at the end, and like you have to find it.
Mhm.
It's fantastic marketing. I gotta
Um,
give credit.
no, I know. Like I said, it's almost brainwashing, but I think
I
that
hate it, but I
one thing I do want to say before we close this topic, because I was reading an article by someone and I gotta go find it, but they were saying that both it's an interesting critique and I gotta find it. But basically the gist of it was that they were saying both Sony and Microsoft didn't really bring us true next gen console. And it made me start thinking, what exactly is next gen? Like, and maybe we can dive into that next time. But what the hell does next gen mean? Because it's not VR.
you know what? I mean, I think we should dive into that, but I I just think we're all limited in what the TV can produce,
True. I
right?
mean, we don't all have $5,000 for a what is it? What's the next above 4K? Don't
8K,
yeah, we don't have 8K TVs money. Like, you
and then
know,
most TVs don't produce at best 60 frames. Like, you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like even
I
if you
mean,
have a
at best, a computer monitor will, but it won't be cheap.
no, and
It won't be
it's not
cheap.
huge. You can't just plop yourself on a couch and just play for hours.
Exactly. So,
Um,
like I said, I don't know what people mean by that. And I think for the next show, I'm going to do a little research on what the hell that term means. But I don't know what that means because when people say next gen to me, like I'm kind of like, are they talking like where I'm playing the game in my mind? Because to me, that's next gen. Like you're talking about bio whatever, like literally linking literally what Tesla's doing with pigs, like controlling them with your mind. Like that's what I'm like, what do they mean by next gen? Because I don't understand it. But yeah,
let's
anyway.
save that for a fun maybe
Yes,
video or two.
yeah.
But yeah, well, let's end it. Keanu was not in the Nightwire, was he?
No, but he was in the Berserk. He was in the Berserk message. If you do follow his Kickstarter, he he was there in the video talking about some new artwork and things like that. I just had to
No,
say it.
by the way, I was watching those Terran Tactical where they were training him for the John Wick stuff. It's just
Mhm.
fantastic. Like Keanu,
Oh,
he's
I
like
bet.
they're like they're like you rock that time, and he's like, I was a little slow on this one. I could have done a little bit better. Like, he's just so humble. We
He's
just
awesome.
gotta give our Keanu love
But
because
yeah, there was a new Night City Wire. Is that what it's called? Night City
yep,
Wire? Did I get it right? Um, so like there was a new Night City Wire. It was actually short, which was enough. In a nutshell, it really delved into Night City itself. So there was like a segment, maybe 2 minutes on Night City, as well as some chatting with the devs. And there was also a blurb about the gangs, which I was just intrigued about because I didn't realize there were so many gangs involved in it. I was sad to hear though, and they confirmed this, that you can't join a gang because you're still with this whole afterlife crew of mercenaries, and that's like your character's main, I guess, gang, if you will. But it was just interesting because I'm guessing a lot of the missions deal with these different gangs. There was an article like that basically said, "Oh, there's a lot of stereotypes and things about the gangs." Like, we got to take that out of this context. It's a freaking video game.
oh
Like,
Jesus Christ, really?
yeah, they
Did
were
they did it again?
because there was one gang called Tiger Claws, and of course they were Asian, like Yakuza style, fighting with swords. There was a gang, um, like basically, um, like they looked like they were the Fast and Furious. There was a gang of Latin descent. There was a gang of like I don't know. They looked like my God, what the hell did they call themselves? Marauders or something? I gotta go look it up. But anyway, they were saying, oh, there's a lot of stereotypes about the game. What do they expect? Like, I don't know what to say. Like, I just feel like people were being a little critical of something that's just a freaking video
You
game
want to
and
bet?
not.
You want to bet they're not gonna buy it anyway?
What do
It's
you
a
mean?
bunch of Twitter. It's just of those Twitter f's complaining
Oh,
about.
oh my God. But anyway, so I thought that was cool because, like I said, I knew that there was more to the city in terms of this whole, I guess, world that they built for Cyberpunk. And the cool thing about each of the snippets was that you hear Keanu's voice as they describe some of the gangs. So I forget how many hours of voice was he in the game. I remember you mentioned it before.
They're like
And I can't.
60 or something crazy.
Right? So, like, I mean, hearing his voice means that he's like literally talking to your character about these gigs at some point and describing them and like, so I thought that was kind of neat. Other than that, no big revelations other than what the system requirements were for Cyberpunk. So I think there were the typical expected ones in terms of like graphics cards and Windows 7 or above. They prefer you to be playing on Windows 10. Um, what else was there? I can't remember, but just those basic things. And how many like gigabytes it runs on is 70, but it uses a terabyte. Like, so you need that sort of extra space.
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah,
and
just get ready.
it also said please use an SSD. Um, yeah, I mean it's typical. The I think I will say it wasn't much of a surprise. I think the question is, can your PC run on Crisis? But that's a different story.
Oh
I bet
my God.
that is
I
out, by the way. The Crisis remastered.
did, I like the concept of that game. Um, so yeah,
Hmm.
but I hope they build on that some more. I did like that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well,
that was like the big thing.
yeah. Well, that said, I think we ran a bit over, but this next gen, it's fascinating to us, but at the same time, I think it's got to. I mean, I feel like it's got to sell us more on us wanting to buy in. But if to say Xbox's All Access makes it easier for me in terms of a monetary perspective, but at the same time, I gotta wait. I need something. With that said, if you like our content, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications for when to be notified of our content. Also, just know that we are on podcasts like Spotify, Google Podcast, etc. And yeah, have a good night, and we'll talk to you in the next podcast looking at the entertainment industry. See you later.
Bye.